Oh, recording in progress. Is that you doing that or me?
No, you haven't done anything. You haven't even moved your hands.
Shit, mate. I've been using my phone. I'm like, what the fuck?
Have you been on your phone?
That means he's not watching the screen. He's fucking about.
No, it's gonna be one of those where Kirk ends up setting himself up in the shower, forgets that he's recording himself, and it goes.
Yeah, it's live on Instagram. I don't know how to do this. That's why I asked you last week. How do I get out of it? Because imagine I leave my laptop and it's Stu's watching me all day.
I was when I saw your story after the Zoom last week, I thought you're still going to be sat on the sofa like, where are they all gone?
Yeah, I don't know how to use. I've got a laptop. I know how to turn it on to do crypto, but I don't know how to use anything else in it. So
what did everyone think of Steve Ryan's testimonial yesterday?
It's good.
Sick.
Wicked, isn't it?
He's done well though, isn't he?
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's even can play himself if you want.
43.
53.
43.
Thanks, guys.
No, he smashed it. Absolutely smashed it. So he's doing a shoot as well. So a couple of you on at the moment will probably be rolling into the shoot together. Kirk, we're doing
Cal
yours.
Pettigrew can probably do it as well. He's about fucking 1% body fat.
Cal Pettigrew is the only person.
That's not good for us then, is it? We'll be sitting there going, fuck.
He's an absolute liberty. Like the best genetics on the planet is piss take. To be fair, let's just kick Cal off. Fuck Cal.
I'll be sitting there saying, what the fuck is that muscle?
Why is it what's is it Twins with Arnie and
Danny DeVito.
yeah, amazing film. Absolutely fun. So what's his name? What's his name in it?
Oh,
No one else knows what you're talking
Darius,
about.
no, is it Darius? I want to say Darius. Anyway, he's like, you just go and watch it and you'll know what I'm talking about.
I've seen it anyway. It's a small little fucking stumpy guy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all. Come on then, Mads, let's see it.
All right, let's share my.
Everyone strap in.
Right, the phone's out of my hand. Let's go.
Does everyone know what we're talking about?
No, you haven't told me.
Ketchup, apple cider vinegar.
No, obviously not.
Let's do this.
Because this is what you're all shit at, so I thought this is what we'd do.
That's not true. It's not
I'm
very
joking.
motivating.
Can everyone see this?
Yep.
Hey.
Yeah.
So no, I'm only joking. There was a few suggestions about like training, about execution, that sort of thing. But I think from like the last week's worth of check-ins and like feedback from people, it seems to be that the thing people are struggling with the most is probably actually being able to get everything done, because that seems to be where people are falling down. So whether it's like not being able to do their cardio or not having time to prep their meals or go shopping or do whatever they need to do, they're not prepared for the week. And therefore you get to a Thursday or Friday and things just get on top of you and you're not actually able to complete the things that you need to complete. And therefore you end up falling off the wagon, not necessarily by choice, but just down to lack of preparation. So you've probably potentially seen a few of you that we've created like a new planner for everyone to map out the day and work out what their routine is going to look like. And that's going to be added onto everyone's check-in forms this week. But just thought we'd go through like why it's important, why it's necessary to have a solid routine and why it makes a difference, and essentially ask you guys really to contribute on what you think. And then I'll go through what that new planner looks like.
There's a massive question on this, guys, of I would consider as like self-awareness, like actually having a look at yourselves and saying, where am I falling potentially? Listen, I would say openly and honestly, you're absolutely fucking brilliant. Like you're making unbelievable progress in your own right. However, there is always more that we could be doing, even as individual. Like me and Mads ain't perfect. Do you know what I mean? Could we set I'd probably say for us, being open and honest, we should do a shop midweek every time, because otherwise what we end up doing is getting to Thursday and we're like, all right, we need to go to shop and get this. Whereas if we split our shops in two in the week, we'd be in a position where we wouldn't have our backs against the wall potentially. And I wouldn't be missing out on asparagus for my first meal. so I have to go and get it sorted. So there's always things in your routine on a weekly basis that we could just make a slight difference, which would make everything a hell of a lot better. You agree?
Agree.
Cool. On to Mads.
Look, I've got animations. You ready?
Go on. Strap in. Oh my God. Did you see that? That word came out of nowhere. Do it again. Go on.
So few things that, I mean, it all sounds very obvious, but I don't think we put enough emphasis on this, but a few things that your routine is going to massively affect, like number one being sleep. If you're not going to bed at the same time every single day, getting up at the same time every single day, your sleep is going to be different every day. And your routine, therefore, is going to be different. So if you're going to bed at 11 o'clock at night one night, you're going to bed at 8 o'clock at night another night, are you going to bed at 11 because you haven't got the jobs done in the day you should have done, so you end up going to bed late, therefore you get up late, so you miss out on doing cardio or something. And morning page. And then reduced sleep obviously has a massive effect on your energy throughout the day, potentially your training. So I think for me, like, the first thing is your sleep. Like, if we can set, it sounds ridiculous, but set bedtimes and get up times every single day, even potentially the weekend, keeping that exactly the same. Like, you can't miss with everything else that you do in the day, because everything revolves around that to start with. Cardio, obviously, if it's not planned in and you don't know what time you're doing it every single day, like, you're probably going to miss it. You're going to get to the end of the day and think, oh, I've still not done that, and I need to get to the gym and do it. Potentially losing out on family time if you've got kids, I don't know, your partner, other members of the family, like, that you should be fitting in or spending time with. Like, you end up not chilling in the evening because you're running around doing meal prep and your cardio because you've not planned it in. Your training, like, sometimes, and we've been guilty of this, having no time left in the evening to fit in like a full session. So you end up rushing your session because you need to get back or whatever. So allocating enough time to do that. How that impacts your stress. So we all know, and we touched on it last week, about deloads, and it's something else we'll talk about another week, but stress is a massive factor in, like, your fat loss and weight loss journey, even muscle gain. Like, if your body is stressed and you get to the point, say you need a deload, or you've got a lot of mental stress through family issues or work, like, your body doesn't operate as well. And if you're stressed because you're stressed because of the things you can control, but you're not controlling them very well, it's just totally avoidable. So making sure that this is all organized is going to help reduce your stress. Eating so many times, and I think, and I'm sure, I don't know if Charlie's on the call, but he won't mind me saying, like, he's struggled over the last week or two to make sure he's getting in all his meals. Like, he's in a growth phase, he's eating quite a decent amount of food, he's on 6 meals a day, and he's struggling to get his last meal in. Now, he's only struggling to get his last meal in because he's not starting his day early enough. He's not having his first meal at 6 o'clock and then his second meal at 9. He's probably having his first meal at 9. So he's already, like, behind for the day. And once you spent 3 hours in the gym, like, he's already even further behind. So he's not getting his meals in. He's not spacing his meals out correctly, or potentially having a big gap and then trying to cram 2 or 3 together. And that's not good either. Like, that sort of defeats the whole point in having a number of meals separated throughout the day. Posing, like, this doesn't apply to some of you, but other people who are competing, male and female, like, you need to be planning in your posing in the day, whether you do it post cardio, post training, in the morning fasted, like, you need to be making sure that that's in. Your food shop, like Corey was saying, like, how are you doing that? Are you running out in the week so you haven't got the food you need, so you're substituting things, changing your diet, missing out on meals, or grabbing something quick because you haven't prepared enough? Like, could you get a food shop delivered? Could you do 2 shops a week? Could you just plan that better? Make sure that's in your routine somewhere. And then meal prep, like, this is a big one. Like, a lot of times I hear, like, oh, I wasn't prepared, so I didn't get all my meals in, or I didn't have time to prep my meals. I was tired, so I went to bed. Like, we've got some, like, little tutorial videos on meal prep and, like, bulk meal prep, which we can share, because it's easy. It can literally takes a bit of practice, but 10-15 minutes to make all your day's worth of meals the night before. If you've got 4 meals of rice, times your rice by 4, cook them together, then divide it by 4. Like, you don't need to separate each meal that you cook. If you've got mince meals to make, you can cook a whole pack of mince. For girls, if you're having 100 grams in a meal, probably, then if you've got a 500 pack of mince, sounds obvious, but cook it, then divide it by 5. You don't need to cook each meal separately. Make your time efficient with your meal prep. So like they're
John's giving a dig out here. Sorry, just got to point out. John's doing a fucking.
John's what?
Yeah.
What's he saying?
What did you say? Oh, about John doing Paige's meal prep. Listen, we all carry each other. To be fair,
No, who does your meal prep?
Ding ding ding. I think. Listen, I 100% looking at all these factors. Some of you potentially sat there thinking, "Well, that makes sense," but they all link in with each other, don't they? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're in a position where your food shop isn't nailed, you're not in a position where you've got your food there, you're not going to get your meal prep. If you don't get your meal prep done, the stress starts rising. Then you're in a position where you go to work, you haven't got food with you because you haven't prepared the day before potentially, or days before, and you're in a position where your eating's off. As a result, you haven't had the most productive week you could have had. And like, we all know the difference, me and Mads included, where if we don't nail everything, and they're not difficult boxes, guys, like, you know that, like, your to-do lists aren't really that challenging. It's just a simple case of eating. Well, you do that anyway. Going to the gym, most of you have done that before anyway. Even if you haven't, it's not a massive fucking task. And then you're in a position where, as a result, progress is made.
So what would be the most things that you would struggle with as coaches out of these? What would be yours?
What with you guys or as individuals?
As individuals, obviously, because you're coaches, so you got to basically practice what you preach. But what would be the most difficult one for you guys?
I would probably say sleep, because there's always more things to be done, and I'm guilty. Corey's better at this than me, but I'm guilty of doing more all the time. So thinking, well, there's a job to be done, and trying to get as much done as I can in a day. So I end up going to bed late or being overtired, not giving myself adequate rest. I'm terrible for that. So I would probably say sleep, because then that probably has a knock-on effect the next day of everything happening later. What would you say?
Yeah, I think for me, my non-negotiables, I will always make sure food is ready, 110%. I don't start a day without all of my food being prepped before I have my first meal. Fact. You go downstairs now, there'll be 4 carb meals ready to rock and roll. My meat is ready in the fridge. We bulk everything. So again, if chicken and mince are our main food sources, I'll make 4 days worth of mince. Anyone who's been to the house will know this, who's looked at our food. Like, we'll have big pots of Tupperware. We know what our food is weighed at anyway, from a cooked perspective, and this is something we can obviously share with you guys. If we know, then we'll say, right, well, rather than weighing out your food individually, we know that for every 100 grams of chicken, you're looking at 65 grams cooked-ish. Do you know what I mean? If you can stick with that on a consistent basis, you're going to be there or thereabouts. But over a long period of time, again, that averages out. So for me, my non-negotiables are always food, 110%, because I think it's the backbone of everything. As soon as I'm out on a meal, I'm out on my routine. I'm fucked for the day, because that dictates my ability to prepare for my training. If I'm not prepared for my training, my sessions are out the window. So food is a backbone for me. I think the biggest struggle is sleep, because there is always more that we can be doing. We obviously preach progress, we preach self-development. So as a result, we always have to be thinking not only how we're going to make you guys better, but how we can make ourselves better to enable you guys to be better as well. So sleep and routine. And the biggest thing I think recently has been things like posing. I'm not prepping, but Mads is. Like, Mads now, as a non-negotiable, has to pose after every session. So I'm in a position where my routine is slightly out now, because I'm not coming straight home from the gym. Do you know what I mean? She has to pose. So that's something we have to factor in now. We're in a position where, okay, well, we need to move everything forward by half an hour to be able to give her half an hour after the gym to be able to pose. And that probably means that we're going to have a slightly later night. So sleep 110%. Sleep and factoring in new variables would be ours. What about you? What about you guys? What do you think you struggle with?
Come on, guys, you can talk. Don't let me do it all.
It's more of the fact
What
of
do you struggle with? Mine's meal prep. If I haven't got the food in the fridge done, then I'll end up just snacking on the kids' food.
Yeah, that's super
If I-
common actually.
Yeah.
People
For
with
me,
kids, we
sleep's
hear
my,
that
I'll be like,
you're
oh,
always
they.
finishing
struggle.
their plate off as well.
Yeah.
Like you'll finish their food off their plate because you don't want to put it in the bin.
John went to eat Rory's smiley faces last night, and I took them out of his mouth and put them in the bin.
She's lying.
I fully took them out of his mouth.
ding, ding, ding.
I feel like this.
And his pepperoni. He left half a pepperoni on his plate, and John was like, and I was like, nah.
I feel like this
Down in
is
the bin,
betrayal
mate.
for John.
Yeah.
I think John's been betrayed. Now he's walked off, and now he's been grassed up on.
Look, here he is with his cream of rice. He's all right.
So Steve, what was your biggest one of these? Which one was hard to do?
Sleep, pal. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, sleep's my one.
yeah.
Everyone's asleep. I sleep like a baby.
Yeah, but
No, I think sleep for me.
I've been self-employed in the last year, and I'm going back to being employed. And one of the main reasons is to get a routine back,
Yeah.
because like you can giving yourself 8 hours is fine, but when it's like 8 hours from 10 till 6 and 11 till 7, then it's I personally react better when I get into every day. You know, if there's a half an hour here or there, but I need the same time every day, more or less.
I agree.
Stress.
Stress.
Yeah, the new company and everything, and then
Yeah.
I think that's all. It's always a interesting one when people start new roles. Again, it's just that changing environment, changing expectations of what you've got to do. Charlie, who isn't on this call, and he's going to be talked about a lot because he's not on this call.
Give him a slap later.
Yeah, Charlie has been going for different job interviews, which obviously most, if not all of us, have been in that sort of situation when we're looking for new work and new employment. The expectations are different. As fitness enthusiasts, you know what I mean? Like we live a very, very different lifestyle. And I talked about this in terms of like FOMO and peer pressure and expectations from other people being thrust upon you. And you're in a position where it's just like, well, no, I need to eat 6 meals a day. Okay, well, that means probably in a working day, you need to take 3 to 4 breaks. Like, great, you're a great employee, you are, do you know what I mean? Like, what, so you're going to be in the kitchen rather than at your desk at your computer?
I've always argued, I'd be like, I've got diabetes or something, or I need to eat every 2 hours. It takes me 5 minutes. I've got to do it.
Yeah, that's a good go-to.
And what I argue in any job, what you should argue, if a manager or a boss can go out for a fag break, have a cup of tea,
100%.
what's
Agreed.
Yeah, word up.
the bodybuilder having 5 minutes to eat their meal?
Yeah.
Sorry, there's no difference.
To be fair, on
You're
some of my
fine.
jobs, I've gone and hidden in toilets.
Yeah.
I've said I'm going for a shit and I'm just like eating my meal. I'm not exactly proud of it, but you know,
No,
gotta get it done.
No, but you get. Do you know what?
I'm gonna do that.
You know what it is? I think the important thing is like, if it's important enough to you, you'll make it happen. And if it's important enough to you, you'll plan it in. Like there is a lot of things in my day that I will give up on to make sure that I can do these things. Like I'll miss out on certain stuff to make sure that I can do my cardio. I can do my I can do my training. I can do all these things that I need to do to be able to progress from a physique perspective. And sometimes other things will go out of the window, but it's just what your non-negotiables are. Be interesting, like Luke Roswell, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot. Like Luke works a job that requires him to do 4 shifts on, 4 shifts off, I believe, and work 12-hour nights or 12-hour days, I think. And I know that that's something that Luke struggled with a little bit now. I don't know if you want to jump in, Luke, and say what you've done to kind of combat that a little bit. But
the thing with me is obviously I work at the airport, so shifts are, obviously I do 4 on 4 off, I do 12-hour shifts, but not one shift is the same. So I could go in at 6 and not eat till 3 just because I can't. And because I work for private planes, you can't just say to the manager, I'm going to go eat, because it's just the world of aviation, really. You can't, it's hard to explain, and people think, well, you're entitled to a lunch break, which I am, but I've probably got one lunch break, and if I don't take it, then I've got a load of meals to do. Yeah. And going back to this, I think for me, if I mess up one thing, just say morning steps or cardio, then I feel like my whole day's ruined. Yeah. And I'm getting over it a little bit, but that's probably my biggest. I don't know, really. It's hard to explain, but it's on my days off. I probably punish myself more if I don't do something, because on my days off is probably where I'm going to make the most progress. But no, it's hard. Airport life is hard, but it's getting better. But
you're getting there, aren't you, mate? It's getting better.
You still make progress every week. So with regards to Luke, like case study wise, we had to create a plan that was adaptable, and also super easy. Yeah. So meals wise, like Luke ain't sitting down to a spaghetti bolognese 4 times a day. Like he ain't, because he ain't got the time. And we see this a lot, and this is like from application approach standpoint, we do this a lot with like the girls that we've had in the past, girls or boys who work in like health sector as well, like for the NHS as nursing. Emma prepped on literally rice cakes and dark chocolate and chicken or protein shake.
Just grab it.
Because she can just grab it. It takes 2 seconds to eat. You can bang 4 rice cakes, drink a protein shake, have a little bar of chocolate, and you're done. Do you know what I mean?
So with Luke, sorry for interrupting. So obviously he works 12-hour days. So I know you give me and all the rest of the guys 6 meals a day, but would you like make his meals bigger? Is that still acceptable?
I got 4.
Yeah. Luke does 4. He doesn't do 6.
Once you obviously you know what calories we should be taking in. It doesn't matter which way you do it, whether it be 2 meals or 6. Once you've got it, is that correct?
Yeah. You've got to be able to fit in around your day, like we've said before. If it doesn't fit you and what you need to do on your day, then it's pointless, because you won't be able to stick to it anyway. So obviously, say the most optimal might be like, split your meals up over 6, but that isn't the most optimal if you can't do it, is it? So it needs to be doable.
My diet, if they want to know, it mostly works around me. So I have meal 1. I probably have it around 10, 11 o'clock. I have 4 hex sausages, 2 bagels, and then 100 grams of pineapple. And then meal 2, chicken, pasta, sauce, and then minced pasta sauce. And then I think it's cereal in the evening. So it's pretty easy, but it works. So
I like sausages, just saying.
Good. Thanks for letting me know.
The other person I'd probably make an example out of, she won't mind, is Abby. Like, I think Abby would be quite happy to say when she started this prep and started into her diet was like a little bit all over the place of routine. She just moved house. She was doing a cardio at home a bit, at the gym a bit, post-workout in the morning, not getting it done, moving training sessions. And we had a bit of a one-to-one Zoom call and said, right, let's nail this down. How are you going to hit your non-negotiables each day? And actually plan out what your day looks like and make things non-negotiable. So regardless of what your other half is doing, or if you want to go home from work or not go home from work first, like you need to make a plan where you say, every day I finish work, I eat there, then I go to the gym. That's just what happens. If my other half wants to join me or my friend's joining me to train or whatever, that's great. But that is what I am doing. I have to get up in the morning and do my cardio before I go to work. Whatever else happens, whether the dog needs letting out, whatever, I go and do my cardio. And I think, Abby, would you say now, like, things are easier?
Oh, 100%. I've also as well started taking my iPad to do my cardio, because I can't leave work alone, but it allows me to answer my emails on the Stairmaster. And that's massively helped me, because it gives me a focus to get through the half an hour, but I also am ticking other boxes at the same time. Bit of a work addict, unfortunately, but definitely that's helped. The only thing I need to now better is my sleep. The 8-hour thing.
And would you say, I mean, I'll be honest, it's fantastic to say, and I think I've probably said this to every single one of you individually, saying I'm aiming for 8 hours. Charlie again said to me the other day, when he had like 9 hours sleep, I was just like, 9 hours fucking sleep. 9 hours sleep.
I wish.
Wow. Do you know what I mean? Like we live on bare minimum, because that's the reality. Like, as busy individuals as we all are, do you know what I mean? We've all got commitments. Like, if we've got to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning and we've got hello QT, and we've all got things we need to be doing. The likelihood is we probably ain't going to bed until 10, 11 o'clock at night. Do you know what I mean? Like a best case scenario. So yeah, I think the thing to take away from this, guys, and we're going to move on to the next slide in a minute, I think, because the next slide is even better than this one. We everything is adaptable. Like there's no one way to do this. As individuals, Albert just joined the call. So that boy will eat 9 meals a day if he can. Like if honestly, I swear down, when we prepped last year, and we're kicking off his next prep now, like if I was gonna take anything away from that prep, it was like, cool, like I can eat more meals. I'm like, yeah, but you're not allowed to. You can't possibly eat more meals. But he would eat 10 meals a day and make time for it. Small 10 meals a day. So as individuals, like every one of you has a different protocol. Obviously, it's all geared towards achieving your goal, but there's 1,000,001 ways to do this. If you don't have to be a stickler. 6 meals a day, chicken and rice and broccoli, half an hour on cardio in the morning. Like however we do it, we'll get it done, providing we know. If we don't know and you're sat there and you're stressing because it's just like
struggling to do it,
yeah, this doesn't really work, I'm actually going against the grain a little bit. Well, let's adapt, let's change, and we'll continue to press on forward. Do you know what I mean? Food's food, cardio is cardio, providing we can get it done in the way that we need to. That's fine.
I think something just to like add to that as well is being like unapologetic about what you're doing. Yeah. I've noticed like at work, you know, if you tell people what you're doing and why, a lot of people will respect the hell out of you for it. You know, I was always very sheepish, thinking like, oh, people are going to think it's stupid that I'm doing this thing, because most people don't understand what goes into it. Yep. Like my mum was a classic for being like, oh, can't you just have some of this? I'm like, no, mum, I'm prepping for a comp. Like, oh, wait.
Yeah, well,
but like, yeah, so like my mum's coming over for a month, and like I had to pre-explain to her, like, no, I won't be going out to restaurants. No, I won't be doing this. I'm prepping for a comp. Like, please support me in what I'm trying to do. Yes. But at work as well, you know, you say to people like, you know, you obviously within reason, but I'll make time for my meals. I work 12 hours a day, and I'll make time for my meals, and I will take them to my desk. But people will start asking and say, oh, you know, so what's this thing? And when you tell people what you're doing and it means a lot to you, people will back off. Not only will they back off, they'll start to take a genuine interest in what you're doing and really support you. And I've been really surprised at the amount of people at work now that are like, how's the bodybuilding prep going? Like people who you wouldn't expect to take any interest in that sort of thing. Yeah. So be unapologetic about what you do, because it's hard work and people respect that.
We did a good video on this on Instagram the other day. I don't know if you watched it, but basically about peer pressure. It was about peer pressure, but it's the same. It was about the same thing, essentially. Like the note being there, or the takeaway from that was like, communicate with people what you're doing, and also with that, educate them in what you're doing, because we are a bit weird. Like we are a little bit weird. Like what we do is a little bit weird. Eating 6 times a day is a bit weird. Like training progressively and checking in every week is a bit weird. Like it's weird to the normal person. So
drinking apple cider vinegar in the morning is a bit weird.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, especially if it's in a liter of water.
Yeah. But it is weird. But I think when you do educate people, if you involve them, if you don't alienate them from it, and you actually bring them into it a little bit and teach them, people are interested because it's something new and it's different. And I think there's a jealousy factor as well. People actually admire you a little bit because they know that they couldn't do that, or they don't do that.
I was just about to say it's a massive character reference, I think. Like, and I said this Charlie on the lead up to his interviews. Like, if you're somebody who is committed to a goal and you're driven to that, like that shows you that
speaks in volumes for you.
Skills, 100%. Yeah.
You know, but unfortunately, like you
people
guys
don't take to that very well.
What's that?
Yeah, but like you guys know, it's okay for the younger generation, but if you work for somebody quite old, they don't like change. So
that's not necessarily true. Like both of the like the senior executives of my business are like well and truly into their 50s, and they're like, fuck, that's hard work. Like people recognize hard work regardless of their age.
Yeah, but some people, unfortunately, you saying that you need to eat 3, 4, 5, 6 meals a day, they're like, well, I don't need to eat it. And you're thinking, but the expenditure that goes into my training, my day, my workload, compared to you sitting your arse all day doing absolutely nothing, drinking 6 coffees every hour, is completely different. Yeah. So some people, it's great. Some people push you, well done, congrats. Like, I can't believe you do this. How can you eat 6 meals a day? And then some people's jobs, unfortunately, like whoever's in the the plane business, was it Luke or like they say you can only eat once a day, but you're lugging whatever you're doing a day, like your expenditure changes.
Yeah, definitely.
It is unfair that some people can't have the same, obviously, like lunches and dinners that everyone else can. So
the cigarette break is the best example, because it's an absolute piss take. You can go out and get lung cancer, but you can't stop to have a meal.
And this is where education comes in. They think because it's normal, they've been doing it for 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
And this is the thing.
Yeah, you're breaking the norm, aren't you? Because you're different.
Yeah, exactly. People don't like change. People don't like different people, do they?
No, I do think it is that element of like owning your shit, owning what you're doing, and also being proud of that. You're not going to be able to sell anything you don't believe in. Do you know what I mean? So for James, for example, like he is nuts and bolts strapped into this prep, and he has been since the day he started, like unapologetically invested. Like he goes abroad, sticks to plan, does what he needs to, because he knows that that's what he wants to do, and you can't not believe in that, regardless whether you like it or you don't. Do you know what I mean? If somebody's dead set on doing something, do you know what I mean? Like I used to hate Justin Bieber. I think he's an absolute dom now. Do you know what I mean? Because but the reality is, well, it is fantastic. I think he's a baby. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
I feel you.
anyone who does something at 110% with full conviction and effort, you can't knock that. And providing, again, you communicate, you educate, and you remember as to why you're doing something, regardless. Like fuck what everyone else does, and don't fall to that ever.
At least we know now what you're doing with your windows up. Justin Bieber full whack.
Mate,
going down the road.
I think he's a don. I'm
on board.
He's a little shit, but I was probably jealous. Anyway, moving on.
We've probably covered all this now.
That's all right. Still
You get a lot of people when you go out on diets as well. The worst is when people are just like, "Oh, you can have this, you can have that," and they're telling you what you can have. Mate, that drives me fucking insane. Yeah. Like, well, thanks for that, but you're not in shape, so take that advice.
You can have one of these, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, like,
you know, a really good thing to do. I'm celiac, so I tell, like, I've been dealing with that for years. Like, even my own mum was like, "You can have a bit of pasta, can't you?" And I'm like, "Mum, it will make me sick." And she's like, "Yeah, but like a little bit's fine."
Yeah,
So you just learn to tell people to get fucked, basically.
Yeah. No, it's just like explaining it all to people is just so elongated at times, isn't it? That's the thing. Because people are just like, oh, the other thing as well is it like, it's when someone's like, "Oh, you can have like a little bit of this," and it's like, yeah, you can probably get away with it as far as a calorie expenditure point of view, but like also I have a plan. Like I want to stick to my plan. If you've got a lot of goals,
this is what I want to do. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, as in,
I couldn't have
you know yourself. You've come off a plan, haven't you? So
and also
psychological.
It's like you don't actually want to come away from your plan because you actually like your plan. And you like how it makes you feel. And you like the energy it gives you. And also the satisfaction you're going to get from one quality street is going to be over in 1 second. You think, what was the fucking point in that?
Yeah, but like you just said, man, one quality street turns to 2, which turns to 4, which turns to 8, which turns to 10, and then you're back fucking 3 weeks.
Slippery slope. Yeah.
Do you know what? You guys say, what happened to your diet for the last few days? Well, I ate my chicken, rice, and mince. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. But yet a whole tin of quality streets has gone down the hatch as well.
I wouldn't be able to live with myself. I'm sorry, but the reality is, much like I think Luke picked up on this just now, I've missed my cardio, so it ruins my whole day. It ruins my fucking year. And as a result, it ruins Mads' year as well, because I'll bitch and moan about it. Honestly, if I am, and this may be a thing, I've done this for a very, very long time, and I can manage myself very well in any situation, but I've had to go through those situations where I'm like, why the fuck did I say yes to that drink? Like, I'll be in a social setting, they'll be like, "Oh, do you want a drink?" And I'll be like, "No, yeah, all right." Like, because I feel the need. Like, I love social interaction. I love love having a conversation, love being integrated into a conversation. Great. But then I come away from it, I'm like, "You fucking dick. Why did you do that? What a waste." And do you know what? Like, I had to turn my mentality to like that invincibility mentality of, I've said this to a couple of you. If you're going to have a cheat meal, enjoy it. I hate the word cheat meal, actually. If you're going to have an endurance award, have an endurance award, enjoy it, get into it, fine. But don't fucking sit there and wallow in your Nando's spicy rice and just like, why am I eating this? Either do it or don't do it.
one thing I've
don't eat
learned.
something and then feel guilty about it.
I
That's
don't
actually
know-
worse. I feel like the cortisol reaction from that is just significantly worse.
Huge.
And
It's
one
like
thing
at work. Sorry, at work the other day, I had people because I do reception work at a gym in Chigwell, and I was literally sitting there at work eating my dinner at like, I think it was like 7 p.m. at night, because I don't really eat that late before I go to bed. And people were like, what are you eating? And I sat there and I explained it to them. And they went, why are you doing this? I went, well, and then I went into detail with what I was doing, and everyone was like, okay. And then for some reason, like that person's mentality went from, oh my God, why are you eating that, to, well done, you're doing so much progress. Like I think I explained when I first ever joined this team, like I explained how much weight I'd lost beforehand, and that took a lot of discipline to do that. So they went, well, if you've done that, you can already do this. I went, I know, but it's like an extra push. And now in the gym, everyone just treats me differently. I think actually the other day, I was training yesterday, people avoided me in the gym, because the other day I was filming and someone walked in front of my camera and I turned around and said, you're a prick.
Yeah.
It's like been watching my videos when I call everyone.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I know what, someone did that again on the hack spot the other night, exactly the same place. I was like, mate.
So aggressive.
I was fuming, and I sat there and I was like, right, everyone should have avoids me.
Yeah.
Now the worst is when someone sits there, watches you set it up, and then they walk in front of it. It wouldn't matter if they were unaware. They watch you fucking do it, and then they walk in front of it. It's like, do you want to get a fucking plate?
I can imagine Tom throws his fucking headband at him.
Straight up.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, don't fucking mess with the headband.
Steve growled. What's that?
Someone the other day in the gym dropped a weight plate, right? And it literally hit me in the ankle. I turned around, I looked at him with like the death glare, and I went, mate, God. I went, I've got a leg extension, a leg press to do. I went, do you want the weight plate thrown back at you?
Steve growled at somebody the other day. He was doing lunges, and somebody spotted his camera. They walked towards him, and then they realised like Steve was like hurtling in lunges behind him. He was like, sidestepped out of the way of it. He was gone, no chance. But yeah, no, I think you're doing amazing well. Mads, on to the next one.
I think like we've covered most of this now.
We digress.
Why it's important. I was going to ask you lot to tell me this, but we've already sort of covered it. But
why is it important? Why is it important to you guys?
Because it gets into your boxes, you get into a routine, and you're making progress every week.
I said this to you the other week, like it's about input, not output. Like I have the worst body dysmorphia. When I look in the mirror, I never see what I think reality is. And something that's been really healthy for me in doing this is actually sticking to focusing on, do I tick my boxes rather than what does my reflection look like?
Definitely.
I would agree with that. I think that I would probably, and you probably won't mind me saying, but Corey's quite similar. Like if
likewise
doesn't I think it's fucking the whole bodybuilding thing just causes terrible body dysmorphia, to be honest.
Horrendous
body dysmorphia. Like Corey's like, do I look big? I'm like, you're 120 kilos, please relax. Like so
Glad it's not just me.
I feel like I'm really small. I'm like, no, you're not, you're a fucking idiot. So like I think I agree with that. I think that it gives you, if you just have boxes to tick, you can't spend too long thinking. I think the problem is when you spend too long thinking about the effect something's having, like the meal or the training or the looking in the mirror.
Second guess yourself.
Yeah, if you've got a routine where you're actually busy all day in structure, before you know it, you go into bed and you've not even looked in the mirror, like because you've just spent all day doing the things what you need to do. So I'd 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
It's also about like creates a habit. You stick to that routine for long enough, and you don't have to think about half of it. The stress is reduced, you sleep better, etc., etc.
Yeah, it becomes second nature, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Cal's good actually. Cal, you've nailed your routine, haven't you? You're really good at routine. You nailed it probably in lockdown first time.
Cal don't fuck it back. Cal was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning on prep just to go.
Mate, I went for a 2:30 walk on prep at some point.
Yeah, that's because of a lack of sleep though.
Yeah, let's not go there.
No sleep.
Let's not go there. Or Cal's aura ring tells him he's dead.
Yeah.
He's in the middle of a park somewhere. Just gone hypo.
Cal started tying his aura ring to his cat, and it just runs around the garden with it on. Like.
I love it.
Yeah, Cal don't sleep. That part of his brain doesn't work.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Tell me why nailing your routine is important to you as an individual.
Hiya.
Hello.
Hi everyone. Hi, I'm Aisha. I've literally just finished prep a show like 2 weeks ago. And I think more than anything, what prep has done and what like bodybuilding has done is really it's a discipline that's really stretched into so many areas of my life. And so many of my family and friends have noticed it because I was prepping for 5 months and they were like, you're so much more, not that I wasn't, but so much more focused and disciplined in so many other areas now. Sorry, I am in the gym, so there is a bit of background noise.
You're all right.
Yeah, and I think that's really been a big takeaway for me personally, is that level of focus and the ability to also, I was talking to Corey and Maddie about this, is the fact that it's that ability to say no as well. It's actually like, well, no, actually, I can't do that because this is what I'm doing over here. This is my focus.
Yeah,
and it's that FOMO as well that you get when people are like, oh, you I think a couple of people have touched on this already. Oh, no, you can just have that. Why can't you just get the salad while you're out? I'm like, no, actually, that's not really how it works when you're prepping. You need to be a little bit, not selfish, but just set those boundaries, I think. Yeah. In so many ways where you're like, actually, this is why I'm doing this. I'm going to stick to it.
Yeah. 100%. You have to be selfish to achieve your goals, though. That's kind of like
100%. Yeah, I agree.
That's the reason you signed up, and I think which helped me. I think which helped me with my structure and routine is when Corey sat me down and told me that what is it? I can't explain it properly. That you get a certain amount of calories per week, and it doesn't matter if you lose a meal here, there, and everywhere. It's at the end of the week that your calories is. So you have a cheat meal.
It's accumulation, isn't it?
You have a few cheats throughout the week. You actually, even though you're knocking 500 calories off a day calorie deficit, if you have a 2,000 calorie surplus of a cheat meal, at the end of the week, then the 500 that you've lost every day, you've actually fucked that. And that's where I thought, well, I can't have the extra bit of carbs, which I've cooked extra, because then you're not benefiting at the end of the week, where you're doing the check-in. That's the reason why you've got the check-in, to see what your deficit's done all week. So that's
I had a coach back in Australia explain it to me as like saving money. He was like,
yes, I was literally about to say that's the analogy I always use. Yeah, like if you've got 100 quid for the week, don't go and spend 90 quid on Monday because you're fucked.
Yeah. I didn't even think of it that way. That's a good way of saying it as well, isn't it?
That's a very good way of thinking at it.
Because that's what made me go, oh, I can't have like more ketchup because, like you know, I love ketchup. It's
You've
like,
got enough, mate.
At the end of the week, it's going to be like, well,
do you have a liter of ketchup with your apple cider vinegar in the morning?
I have ketchup on my ketchup if I could. Do you know what I mean? I'd have a bowl of ketchup and I'd go, oh, that's not enough. A bit more, but obviously just can't do it. But yeah, like you're saying about the saving, if you've got £100 per week, you're not going to spend £90. That's actually a good way of thinking of it, because you ruin it then for the rest of the week.
Correct.
It's also like with what we were saying about routine, about people, like you do one thing off your plan and people stress. Like another one I always give like to clients is just like you're trying to fill a jar and you got rocks, pebbles and sand. Well, think about you want to put the rocks in first, then the pebbles and the sand last. So your meal timings is going to be like the sand. It's going to be the minutiae. It's going to be the things that like the really pinpoint things. If you worry about getting your macros and calories in a day, you filled your rocks, you're already 80% full. If you know what I mean, you're already most of the way there.
Yeah.
And then you can think about putting the pebbles in, putting the sand in and getting it to eventually progressing to 100%. And then you have perfect days.
Yeah. It's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, really good. Really
I
good.
like that.
Yeah, so I think that's massively important, Aisha. Thank you very much for making that point. I think anyone else? Come on.
I think it helps others accept what you're doing as well. So like if you're in a good routine, people kind of stop questioning what you're doing and when, because it's just become normal. Like my students know that we have break at 2:15 because I need my meal. And like they tell me
that's your education.
They're like, Miss,
Abby, are you a teacher? Abby, are you a teacher?
Yeah.
So again, your days are structured as well, aren't they? You can only, when the kids go out, you can only have a break as well.
There you go.
Really lucky. I teach people with learning disabilities, so I create the timetable myself.
Okay.
So our timetable is based around my meal time.
The kids are like, I'm hungry. You
That's
are
how it should be.
Does someone call Ofsted?
They love it, honestly. They told Ofsted as well at lunchtime we now go for a 20-minute walk because we don't have like a school, we have like just a single room, so they're on their own. Yeah. We go for a 20-minute walk to get our steps in, and they told Ofsted.
Yeah, but not only that, you're keeping them fit.
That's a good thing, though. Yeah, exactly, 100%.
So they loved it. I was like melting as they were saying it. I was like, oh shit. And they was like, it's great, it's like brilliant, getting exercise. And I was like, yeah, that's why we do it.
Yeah, my teacher, the bodybuilder, should be setting our own goals.
Yeah.
That's good though. I think you're right. I think if you
Abby told us we're going to win the British finals this year.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Do you know, we actually now go to the gym as well. We actually go to the gym fortnightly, and they absolutely love it. Like what I've done has inspired them and given them confidence in the gym.
It's nice. It's
Yeah,
nice.
definitely.
It's nice.
So good.
I think it's super positive.
It's super positive. It's nice.
It is really nice.
I think with that, what you're saying, like, it is important. Like my mum really struggled with what I've been doing for a long, long time. And, like, now she just rings me and she goes, "Oh, it's the evening. You're probably in the gym, so I'll speak to you later." Like she understands what I'm doing now and understands our boundaries. Like when we see her, she's like, "Okay, well, you do this and you eat that, so you're probably not going to want to eat with us, but do you want to come and sit in the garden anyway or something?" Do you know what I mean? So she's still, people are then more inclusive because they understand, and that this all comes down to your routine. They know what you're doing, they know what you're eating. Like they'll say, "Oh, well, I know you'll eat plain chicken or steak, so or whatever, you're not going to eat this kofta. Do you want us to put it on the barbecue?" Yeah.
Mads, did you ever find yourself having a conversation with her to explain like why you're doing this and why it's so important to you? Like,
I had the conversation.
No, you didn't.
Fair.
Yeah, I did. This was years ago though, like maybe like 8 years ago when I first started doing this. I was working with Mark Holes, and I came back from uni and I was like, "This is what I'm doing." My mum was like, "Oh my God, you look really different." She was like, "You look really different. Why aren't you eating with us?" Blah, 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 blah. And it was a conversation then. But then once she saw the changes and saw my body change and saw how much of a positive impact it had on me, then I think she was more supportive because she was like, "I get it now." Because it's weird at first because people just think, "Oh, you're not eating, what's wrong with you?" Whereas like once you educate them and they see the results from it as well, I think they start to understand a little bit and they accept it because they see a result. And it's not like, "Oh, you're just not eating like a weirdo." Like, "Oh, okay, I understand now because you look different, you've progressed, you've done this, you've done that." And the actual result then speaks for itself a little bit as well, I think.
Something I found that made a huge difference. Like my mum used to moan and groan when I was like, "Mum, I can't have that. I can't have this. I can't have that." Is before I would go, I would say to her, "I'm prepping, but this is what I can have. If you want to cook just some plain chicken without this, or if you want to do this, make them include them in it. Make them feel like they're a part of it." Because I think half the time people get their back up because they think you're just rejecting their food. Like people cook for you, they want to do for you, and so you're saying to them like, "I can't have that." They feel rejected. So if you say to them like, "This is how you can help," or if you want to cook this, I'll happily eat that with you, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that. No worries, that's fine. I can do that."
Yeah, I do the same thing. Like, I've had it like last week actually, because now I'm on prep. Once I'm on prep, I won't eat anything that's not on my plan like whatsoever. But we went to my missus' mum's and she was cooking a roast, and I was just like, "Well, if you're steaming veg, I'll have some of your veg," So then you're kind of like pleasing them because you're actually sitting there eating with them. But
you put that food on your plate, don't you? And then you eat the rest of your own.
Yeah, there's a big ownership here, guys, and I think this is the caveat and the flip side. If you're going to go to these social events, understand that you are the one that is different as well. Take ownership for that. Like, I've done this forever. My mum needs to send me to school with prep meals, like straight up. So that's easy work. Like everyone knew I didn't need to educate anybody around me because she did it for me. What I struggled with is when I got a little bit older and I was in social environments and I made people feel uncomfortable because of the way that I wanted to behave. So I then had to make a decision of, am I going to put myself in that position? If I am, I'm going to be involved. Because I remember I used to go to, I remember the week before I went to my first show, I went to We Are Festival. Right, all my pals from up here, and they were all bang on it, having a great time. I was absolutely shredded, right? And they were like, and I actually ruined everyone else's day. So I was like, no. But there's no communication there. I was just a negative Nancy. I was just a little girl. I was just like, "Nah, mate, like I'm not doing that." But I'm almost judging them for not doing what I'm doing. So you've also got to make the appreciation and understand that you are the one going against the grain. Do you know what I mean? So that's a massive point that we've all got to understand. And if we're not going to invest, and that's the decision I made. I was like,
and so,
you know what?
Sorry, what I was going to say. adding to that as well, like, I think a lot of those social situations like that where people are drinking, like a lot of them get the whole like they think that you think you're better than them for not drinking or something like that, and it's like nothing to do with that whatsoever. Like at all. Like, isn't if anything you'd want to be joining in, but your goals don't align with doing that. Yeah, I feel you, Callum. Word up, but like, like, exactly. Like, I'm not going to say I'm better than you, but I am. Like,
that's the reality. We should hold ourselves in higher esteem, because why wouldn't we? Do you know what I mean? We'll wear it proudly. Like, we're working hard. You're investing in yourself every single day, and this is 24 hours a day. Simple as that.
As you all know, especially being coaches, 90% of people think it's not a job. But yeah, if you want your house decorated, you're not going to do it yourself 90% of the time. You want the walls painted, you get a painter.
Correct.
If you need any carpentry done, you pay a carpenter. Same as coaching. As soon as you go, I'm getting coached, they go, for what? Like, you don't need a coach. Yes, you fucking do. You need the accountability. You need someone to help you change your goals, help you with your diet, training program. Because no one's good at everything, like you said. Even used to have hiccups. You're not.
Yeah.
Everyone still needs someone to be in their corner, but most people will go, what is a coach? What does a personal trainer do for you?
Yeah.
A perfect example of that is even coaches have coaches. Like Corey has a coach. Like and Corey is a
every
coach.
Every coach I know has a coach.
Everyone has a coach. Like,
and everyone goes in, well, they got to be a shit coach. Who gets a coach if they're a coach? You're like, what?
Takes the thinking out of it, doesn't it?
They don't get what it's for.
Where did you get any education?
Look, we're still waiting for your video testimonial, mate. I think it'll be great.
We'll take that. We'll take that.
I think adding as well, I was just about to say that the point that Corey made about people not really understanding, I was saying to Corey and Maddie during my prep that it can be quite lonely. And that's something that I completely underestimated when going from being like a lifestyle client to then prepping and doing a show, was the loneliness that it brings with it as well. Sometimes when you're saying, actually, no, I can't do that. No, I can't eat that. And this is why I'm doing this. And people don't really understand. But that's definitely something that I had to get used to throughout my prep, and just kind of set those boundaries and say, no, I'm going to carry on with my goal. And I think involving people, that's a really good point. So they do understand, just helps you stop feeling so lonely as well, I think
that the whole industry is quite close as a result of that, though, because we're all kind of like societal anomalies. So like you see a lot of people within the industry become really good friends because you're all doing the same thing.
It's
really.
nice.
And that's why this driving force of catching up on a weekly basis, do you know what I mean? Being each other's support network, having somebody to talk to and celebrate your wins.
100% agree.
In that group, like keep sending photos, like support each other. Like me and Mads will support you guys till the day we're not here anymore. Do you know what I mean? Or the day that you're not here anymore and you decide to fuck off and take up table tennis, like my favourite pet that I would say. Do you know what I mean?
Take up table.
I've retired from bodybuilding and taken up table tennis, well, I can't help you anymore. So there's still. But that's why we want you guys we want to do this on a weekly basis, to celebrate what we're doing and to talk about what we're doing. And because some people aren't going to understand, but every single person on this call is going through exactly what you're going through. You've got more in common with most of the people on this call to a certain extent on a day-to-day basis than anybody else, even your own family members. You guys are closer to me than anybody else because you live it every single day, and it's amazing. So yeah, go on, Mads. On to you, babe.
It's all right, we've spoken about this now, but get off. It's
so aggressive.
So it's the 1% difference it makes. Like if you set your routine, we've spoken about this, but it means that you get the things done which you potentially wouldn't, or in a less stressful way. So you reduce the stress on what you're doing day to day, increase productivity, and that's not just in what you're doing in terms of like bodybuilding, if that's what you want to call it, but in other areas of your life as well. Like if you can segregate time for when you are eating a meal and then when you're working, your work time becomes your work time because everything else is taken care of. So you tend to actually excel in other areas of your life once you nail down that routine. And that includes people's jobs. It's not uncommon for me to hear that once people get this sort of stuff sorted and their confidence builds, actually they get promotions in their jobs and all that sort of stuff happens as well. And realize you have a lot more time than you think. If you plan your day out, there's a lot of hours in the day that you're not asleep, about 16. You can get a lot done in 16 hours in a day. So if you plan that time out, you'd be very, very surprised how much time you've actually got. And actually, when you commit yourself to something, how little things take Like, it actually takes 15 minutes to prep your meals if you actually just get on and prep them and don't stand around on Instagram, and when the microwave's finished, you haven't quite got it out and you stand around for 20 minutes. Like, if you just crack on with the jobs you need to do and actually increase your productivity, like, you realise there's a lot more time in the day than you think.
Yeah, like Callum said, like, the more times you do it, the easier it does become. The stress and it does. I was stressed at first trying to get the meals prepped and doing it. And after a while of doing it, like Callum said, you don't think about it anymore. It's normal.
Yeah.
So where it wasn't normal at the beginning, it's now normal now. So then when you add something new, just adjust again and keep going on the same road. So
I would just add to what Mads was saying about, you just said there about planning it. For some people, like, this works for me, might not work for everyone, but actually just writing down the day before what you're going to do gives it some intent. It also gets it out of your head, so it's on paper, so you ain't got to stress about it. And also, I think when you're going back to doing the posing, doing the cardio, instead of just saying I'm going to do cardio this week, actually with intent, pick the days you're planning to do it, and you're more likely to do it just out of just literally even just writing it down, or just the fact that you said, I'm going to do posing Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
It's a very, very good point you make, Cal. Thank you for that. Hold that thought.
So why does it fail? Obviously, we've spoken about this, but I think without sort of going around the table again, I think it's pretty obvious from what we've spoken about is peer pressure, social occasions that you feel like you need to be a part of or join in on, or also not feel alienated and not want to answer the questions. Like, if people are saying, well, why are you doing that? Like, you then feel like you have to explain yourself. And sometimes you don't want to explain yourself. So you think, oh, fuck it, I'll just eat the salad and everyone will leave me alone. So there's that as well. So I think be prepared to commit to yourself in those social occasions and back yourself. And then lack of like food preparation, shopping preparation, just general prep for what you need to do. Like, you know the things you need to do, you know what you need to be eating, you know you need to go to the gym. Like, you wouldn't get up and go to work not having any work clothes to wear. Like, you would make sure that you had clothes to wear the next day to go to work. So it's the same thing. Make sure that you've got your meals prepped ready for the day. Make sure that you've got like time allocated for your cardio, that kind of thing. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I remember when I used to get, like, back in the day with previous coaches, when I'd have changes, I would add up how much chicken I would need for that whole week.
You could get in one batch.
Yeah, 100%. So
yeah,
like, right, okay, 200 grams per meal now, 5 meals a day. If I times that by 5, right, I need 2.5 kilos. Is that good maths? Yeah, bang on.
No, it's not enough, but yeah.
Whatever. I need to cut 2.5 kilos. So that's what I need to make sure I buy 2.5 kilos. I'll tell you what, I'll buy 3 just to make sure I'm in front. Boom, and then I'd know that my entire week was just after. And just little things like that. Just when you get those changes, understanding what your requirements are. And again, like Cal said, that list is going to change, isn't it? Because the variables change slightly. But the best thing is, it's all like a compounded effect. So when you've got like your daily non-negotiables set in place, and it's like, right, okay, Mads has given me an extra 10 minutes of cardio, as she loves to do. None of my clients know about that. As I get an extra 10 minutes of cardio. Great. Okay. Well, I need to factor that in now. So does my daily non-negotiables have to change? Does my schedule have to change slightly? Well, to be fair, if I'm doing an extra 10 minutes of cardio, I'm gonna have to probably get up 10 minutes earlier. Okay, does that mean I'm gonna have to go to bed 10 minutes earlier? What has to change? And then adapt. But it's only that one thing. And what I used to do is focus on that one change. Don't worry about anything else, because that's already set in play. Okay, if I need to make an adjustment to my food, I've got 40 grams less carbs today and every single day for the rest of the week. I'll just focus on that. Make sure that's done. Everything else is fucking plain sailing. How do we manage that? Set a to-do list. Thank you very much, Cal. Plan your day. Ensure you're organised for the week. So again, understanding what you need to do on a day-by-day basis. What does that mean over a 7-day basis up until your next check-in? You guys, much like me and Mads do, Mads certainly does at the moment, live for your check-in. I know that probably sounds very, very potentially extreme, but the reality is, if you're focusing on what you need to do on a daily basis and just focusing until your next check-in, I guarantee you nothing else will faze you.
You say it's extreme. Some of us find it exciting. Like, I can't wait for my next check-in.
I'm trying to be diplomatic, Kirk. I want you to be extreme. Do what you're fucking told. But
But being excited as well, that gets you there as well, because we're like, if we tick all these boxes, what's going to happen on Friday? Am I going to look leaner? Am I going to look fuller?
Yeah, being excited is like it's like intrinsic motivation, isn't it? It's like, okay, I'm motivated because I'm excited to do something that's new, that's getting me somewhere.
Yeah.
But you might not always be excited. Like if you're prepping in the winter and it's cold and it's raining and it's shit, you're not going to be excited because it's fucking shit. So you have to just be disciplined to do it. So even if you're not necessarily excited, or you're having a tough time, or when you get hungry, like really hungry, it's not very exciting anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and when you get into the depths of prep, I'm sure Cal and Tom will tell you, like, you just get a bit like, and Aisha definitely will tell you from recent experience, it ain't exciting, it's fucking shit. So it is shit. So you have to just tell yourself to be disciplined to that to-do list, and that helps you get through, because the excitement and the motivation does wear off, like I promise you that. So that to-do list of just getting up and ticking those boxes, a bit like James said about not looking in the mirror, just doing the boxes, like that's what gets you there. And suddenly you do your check-in and you're like, oh, I made really good progress, I didn't think about it too much.
I think 100% agree.
I think I'm a wrong example there because I'm a bit twisted. I find it more fun when it gets hard.
Yeah, you're a fucking weirdo.
Like when you start waking up and you feel like absolute dog shit, this is working.
It's working.
Do you know what I said to Aisha? I was just like, she came for a face-to-face check-in. I said, "How are you feeling?" Worst question to ask somebody on prep, but I ask anyway. And just to reinforce it, but I said, "How are you feeling?" She said, "Yeah, I feel like shit." I said, "Is that been regular?" Like, yeah, past couple of days. I was like, "You're gonna have a weight drop in a couple of days. You need that. You need straight up," and it happened, right, Aisha? Because it does. Same thing with Mads. Like, I know when she's dragging ass, like as of recent, make changes. Takes a couple of days for her to settle into it. Then she has like a bit of like a high spell, as we all will remember and understand. Who have been most of you, I think, are dieting at the moment. Unlucky. Most of you, once you have those changes, you have like a bit of a lull over that adjustment period. John Berry's going through it at this very moment in time. Then you get a little bit of a high, then you come back into the low, and you're in a position where once you've accumulated those 2-3 days worth of feeling a little bit shit and a little bit tired, bang, improvements happen. The visuals change, the scale weight changes, and everything else is fine and dandy. And then you get an extra 10 minutes of cardio. It's brilliant. On to the next one, Bish. What are we doing?
So,
you're gonna love this, guys.
Sure. Right. So
here we go.
We've got on cue, Cal. Well done. Everyone now, not yet, but as you start to check in, everyone who checks in, when they check in, this will be added onto their check-in form. Obviously, you can appreciate we've got a lot. We've got, I don't know, 70 odd of them to do. So as you check in, we'll add them on. However, this is now after your journey planner on your tabs at the bottom of your on the bottom of your sheets. You're going to have this daily planner now. Looks super, super simple, and it is super, super simple. However, this is there to give you the opportunity to give yourself some kind of structure and just plan how you're going to do things in the day. Admit that there might be a little bit of change to this sometimes, and you can amend it. However, like, these are things which you know you need to do in a day, and what does that look like for you? So plan it out once, and then you've kind of made a commitment to yourself if that's what your day is going to look like. Like for me, for example, so these on the right hand side, like, they're just prompts. Like, you can write whatever you want in there. Sit down and think of a list of things that you do in each day that you need to do. It might be take the kids to school, might be in there. It might be, I don't know, pick the kids up. It might be an element of your work that you have to do. You have to be somewhere at a certain time. Like Abby teaches kids, so she knows that probably she has to be at work at 8:30 or something. Like, you've got non-negotiables with that you need as well. So write them in your items to plan, and then plan your day out in here. I know mine would look like between about 5 and 6 getting up, between 6 and 7 doing my cardio, 7 have meal 1, between 7 and 8 sit down and start work, probably have meal 2 at 10, meal 3 at 1, working in between that, stop having pre-workout at like 3:30, 4, going to the gym. So I know what my day looks like every single day. And the weekend, it doesn't change. The only difference is the gym opens a little bit later, so I have to do my cardio a little bit later. That's the only difference to my day, whatever day of the week it is. So coming back to what Cal said, write a list on the right-hand side here of things which are your non-negotiable, things that you have to do, things that you need to do on a daily basis, and write those down, be accountable to that, and then plan them into your day. Appreciate that obviously sometimes that might change. So you might have to say, right, well, on Saturday, the gym doesn't open till 8 and I have to take the kids to football. So therefore on Saturday, my cardio will get done at 3 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. So make sure you be accountable to that as well. And you know that there is going to be elements where you can't be rigid 100%. But if you've got a plan set out like this, and you know what you're doing each day, you'll find that suddenly once you do this, you've got a lot more time than you think. You'll have a lot of blank hours in there where you think, oh shit, I didn't realize I had that spare time to do this or that or the other.
Yeah.
So that'll be on everyone's check-in, or everyone's like sheets moving forward. And then on your check-in as well, near the end, before you get to daily comments, there's a new tick box that says daily routine, did you adhere to it? Like a tick box. And then next to it, if you didn't, why didn't you? So it's getting you to be accountable to the daily plan that you've set for yourself. Like, we're not setting this, you're setting this. So you're setting your own plan, and then tick the box to say, yes, I adhered to my plan, I completed it. No, I didn't adhere to it, and I didn't adhere to it because I was fucking lazy and I didn't get up for my alarm. You have to write that in the box and tell us that you're lazy and you got up for your alarm. Do you know what I mean? So that's for you now to fill in, and everyone will get that added this week. So before the end of the week, whenever your check-in day is, you will get it. So that's nice.
Cheers, Steve.
Cheers, Steve. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful for everyone. Like, it's there for you to use. Please use it.
Yeah. I don't know what you guys think about that. Obviously, when Mad speaks, nobody talks, obviously. But yeah, this was an idea that we sort of come up with. It's not revolutionary. Most of you will have this on an internal log anyway. Some of you will write that power list on a daily basis. I know Cal does. We do. Here you go. Look, daily non-negotiables, to-do list every single day is your power list. You tick those off, you've won the day. However, for you, for everyone, as a baseline, I think setting yourself your daily non-negotiables as individuals that you write. Once it's written, it's happening. If it's not written down, it won't happen. I would stand by that.
If it's in your head, it's dead.
Yeah, if it's in your head, it's dead. And
Where's Cal heard that?
If it reduces your opportunity to steer to come off your track of progress on a day-to-day basis. What do you all think?
Brilliant. I think that's quite helpful, actually, because for me, like I do late shifts at my job, and I'm always doing from 2 till 10 Monday to Friday, or 1 till 9 on a weekend.
Yeah.
So for me, like I said, I eat my food at front of house. No one really cares because they just understand it now. Yeah. But like that actually helps me out a lot, especially like with meal prepping and stuff like that. I can now find my own time to put it all in and get everything sorted, because I train before shift as well. Yeah. So I get in a bit earlier. Okay. And then I get it done.
I think having as potentially, and I think this is positive, but having that rigid setup or slightly more rigid setup will just negate and reduce your ability to fall off, to regress, and you'll be, and it will teach you a lesson. Like nobody likes admitting, having to admit and say, do you know what, I actually haven't done that. It's very, very hard to do that and admit that. But if you write your own daily planner, and you've got to either tick that you have done it or you haven't done it. If you have done it, you're making progress. You accumulate 7 days of that, you've made progress in a week. You accumulate a month's worth of that, you are fucking flying. Do you know what I mean? If you're in a deficit, you're losing half a kilo to a kilo a week. You're losing between 2 and 4 kilos a month. Do you know what I mean? What does that look like? You are a different person in 6 months. 6 months worth of, and Cal will tell you this, like, he's somebody who has invested in himself an enormous amount since the British, or just prior to that. Like he set himself up on new business courses. He set himself a plan, and we drove him into the British finals. That was a shotgun prep. Like, he had a lot of work to do. He didn't achieve that by just fucking fluking it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he knew what he had to do every single fucking day, at what times, and he was there. He did not miss. And as a result, in 6 months' time, like, he's created an enormous and an unbelievable physique, thanks to Splee. And second to that, he's excelled in his business. And again, that productivity and that positivity and that winning outcome spreads over to everything. And like, I'm sure he would stand behind that and say that. As a result, every aspect of his life, he's moved out of his house. Like, you've had enormous changes, Carl.
Yeah. As someone mentioned it earlier as well, it's like it was the girl who competed. Sorry, I forgot her name.
Aisha.
Like with everything we're doing, it really will roll over into everything else you do because you'll understand the value of a routine with everything being organized. You understand consistency, you understand patience, all this sort of stuff. But the one thing I would add, just to add to the daily planner, if you're someone who doesn't really have a routine, don't just shoot for what you see on YouTube, which is like the 5 a.m., the greens, all this shit. Like be realistic with your routine, and you'll find things that work for you. And after 2 or 3 weeks, if you stick to it and you realize that there are 2 or 3 things that keep cropping up in that bit that you're going to fill in, then you'll realize, okay, we've got to try and tweak this slightly, like just a bit of expectation versus reality. Don't just try and go all guns blazing on something that might not be realistic for your lifestyle, whatever job you've got. I think.
Yeah, Cal's reality is going to be very, very different to everyone else's. To mine, he has daily non-negotiables that I probably couldn't adhere to because it's not my life; it's his. Do you know what I mean? He has things. We all have things that we need to be doing. So I hope that you all find this helpful. Have you got anything else? Is there any more unbelievable slides?
Question.
Go on.
I just took my supplements. What does boron actually do? Because I always take it, but it's the only one I don't actually know what it does.
So boron is a natural testosterone booster. It enables and supports.
Got similar properties to zinc.
It's very, very similar properties. Yeah. As a main for me, there are support from a bone density and bone support system, but for me, I utilize it and implement it for testosterone support ability and processes,
especially in natural athletes.
Yeah.
Going back to the daily planner.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Am I still? Yeah.
So don't take 2 tablets, just take 1.
Yeah, I know.
Make sure they're
daily planner.
Go on.
I don't like writing stuff down on paper, so I always. It's quite a bad example, actually. I always write it on daily non-negotiable, but obviously there's nothing on it yet. But I don't like writing on paper, so I write all my tasks down in the morning or the night before on that, and then at the end of the day, if they're all done, good. If not so good. But I just think that's another way of doing it.
I think it's just
whatever works for you. I think as long as you're thinking about it and you're making a plan of how you're going to do these things. And you stick to that plan, and whether that's written down on paper, whether it's written on your phone, whether it's on a whiteboard. Some people set alarms on their phone. Like it's not uncommon for people to set alarms for their food on their phone, or set alarms for not necessarily their cardio, but like especially food, because especially if you have a busy job, you don't realize once you've gone past a meal time, especially if you're in a growing phase, because your leptin hormone isn't fucking screaming at you to eat. So you're not super hungry. So you will miss a meal if you're not careful. So setting alarms is quite a good way of doing it. But I guess that brings us on to this and like, what are you going to do to establish this and establish your routine, and what are you going to do differently? That question to everybody. If anything, you might already be pretty good at this stuff, but you might not be.
Nothing, because I'm perfect.
Obviously, Tom.
Agreed. You are pretty perfect, to be fair. You do very well.
I wish.
You're only getting better.
I'm just going to add something as well. Like, just this routine. I think I have this with my clients. Like a lot of people, instead of, let's say you do this routine and you do it 80%, everyone seems to focus on the 20% they're not doing, and instead of the 80%. So don't get overwhelmed and like beating yourself up.
Because that stress isn't worth it.
Yeah, like exactly. Like
celebrate the wins. Like remember, like a lot of you, but a lot of you.
Hi, James.
Some of you, a lot of you, have never really done something like this before. So even just getting into a routine with meals, going to the gym, and having some kind of structure, even if you don't need it 100% every day, like that is a massive change for you already. So don't beat yourself up that you're not like Hal said, some elite 5 a.m.er, like getting up and winning the world at 5 o'clock and have this ridiculous power list. Like you are doing a lot more.
Callum's sitting here like this now, isn't he? Like fucking I get up.
That's because Cal gets up at 4:59.
Cal's a fucking bat.
Dwayne Johnson gets up at 5 and Cal gets up at 4.
Yeah, but they don't mention he goes to bed at 6 p.m. That's why.
Yeah, it's true. Like,
Yeah.
Cal's the only 100 kg plus human being on the planet that has zero body fat that literally survives on an hour's sleep a day. But we won't get into modafinil or anything like that, Cal. Don't worry.
Guys, I've got to go. I've got to do a dump run for someone. I've got to give someone a hand.
Yeah, shoot, brother. No, it's fine. I was going to say, go on, shoot. I'm going to speak to Adam. Adam, how you getting on, bro?
Go on. See you later, bro.
Peace, brother.
Please.
Be good.
Yo, I'm good. How are you, guys?
Not bad, mate. So Adam has put on, I think he's best part of like 16 to 18 kilos up from his last stage. Most of you, if you've been on my socials, will see his transformation so far. What would you say you've done over the past, probably best part of a year? We've been working together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one thing we drill in pretty much week on week is just ticking those boxes.
Yeah.
Getting yourself accountable for like everything you do. So like we've been sat here today, just listening to aspects of like holding yourself accountable, balancing that time. I think that's just super important, making it as effective as possible.
Brilliant. Love that. So I think the big thing for all of us guys is going to be what? It's going to be just actually establishing and understanding what you've got to do on a day-to-day basis. Once you know that, then you just write that down, put it in your daily planner, and just tick those boxes. And I actually would go to say and be as bold to say that it's a little bit of a blind faith situation. Do you know what I mean? You've got to know that those boxes, or trust that those boxes are going to get you to where you want to be. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't put too much emphasis on anything. I don't with my coach. Like, Cal doesn't with me. I tell him what he needs to do. I just give him the instruction manual and he just ticks the fucking boxes. And he checks in a week later, changes have happened. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't sit there and overanalyze, oh, well, maybe I should do an extra minute or an extra step or an extra gram. Do you know what I mean? He literally just ticks the boxes. I'm probably right in saying this. I know, Cal, and I know you all as individuals, that I know what you like. I know how you operate, but you don't really pay too much emphasis on anything. You just do what you enjoy. You go to train, you smash sessions, because that is pretty much the backbone. And as a result, what happens? Progress, right?
And the process is the best thing in the middle. That's the bit that you're going to do. The bit at the end, you don't actually know what that's going to look like, but you're going to it. Every little micro, same as progressive overload in the gym, every little micro progression is going to add up over time. So
enjoy it. Enjoy the process. That's why we're all
doing it.
100%. I think unless anyone has got anything else to add, these things roll on for quite a while, and apologies, but I think it's all good information. I hope that it sets you all up for a very, very positive week, positive weekend, and positive week. Celebrate your week so far, end it on a high, and then go into another week and fucking smash it out of the park, which you all do, by the way. So I'm very, very grateful for that. Is there any of you got any questions? You all good?
I haven't got questions. Sorry, I haven't got questions, but I just realised today is actually a month that I've been with you guys. I signed up on the 2nd of March. So today's 2nd of April, today's a month already, and I've dropped 4 kilos. So on my check-in with Madeline on Wednesday, I realised I dropped 4 kilos already. So I started off on 86 kilos. I'm now 82, which is a massive jump.
Yeah, and she looks like a different person.
Good girl.
Like 4 kilos looks ridiculous on her as well.
She did. She was like, it looks like you've lost more. You look like you've lost a lot more, but it does. I even showed someone at work the other day. She does powerlifting. She went from where you started to where you do now. She went, you look like a completely different person. It doesn't look like you.
Good. Love that.
Yeah, it's nice. Love that. Nice little win.
Yeah, really good. Welcome. Happy anniversary. Well done. Paula, you all okay?
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm on the dog walk.
That's all right.
She's alive now. She's been dying of COVID or something, I think.
No, I've had like some kind of stomach sickness thing. I don't know what's going on. So I've had sort of a few rest days, which has been great. I like yogurt, but yeah, I've been resting up a little bit. So not really been training, but today I'm feeling fresh. So I'm getting my steps in.
You're out and about on your dog walk. You enjoying it? Good,
yeah, it's good. And then back for my breakfast, and then I'm going to go and do the gym late morning. So legs.
Is Mads looking after you?
Yeah, it's good. So yes, it's been great actually. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just going past the road at the minute, but Yeah, it's all good. So I'm really appreciative of everyone this morning. It's been useful to hear everyone's comments and motivations, especially about routine.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of routine as a human generally. So, but I know that I need it, and I do welcome it. And so, yeah, it's been really useful to get everyone's comments. But yeah, anyway, I'll shut up now.
No, not at all. No, I want to check in and make sure you're all okay. Obviously, I saw your name pop up. I haven't.
Yeah, it's real good.
So want to say hello, but yeah, I think it goes without saying, all of us on this call and in the group, which everyone is a little bit more active on, like everyone will always be able to help and guide and give some sort of support and direction in terms of how they're doing something. Everyone will do something differently, but that's the idea of this sort of collaborative sort of catch up on a Saturday. How is everyone getting on? This is what I do. Oh, that sounds really good. I think Kurt picked up something last week with regards to tracking his numbers. He don't like writing anything down because he's a nightmare. So yeah, I think just goes to show like that support from all of you, and it is very, very much appreciative. It's appreciated. It makes our life very enjoyable, less easy, but more enjoyable. So
yeah, it's nice to see everybody like chatting and supporting each other as well.
It's a career high for me. I get them every single week, but it's nice to know that we're sort of building something special as a team. So yeah, thank you very much for that. It means a lot.
Sorry, one more question.
No.
Maybe everyone else can answer as well, because I think it's not. Oh, it might be. What I asked you in the week about recording sets. For me, I said to Corey in the week that I just can't do it. I get the camera out, put it on the tripod. Someone looks at me, I put it away. I hate it. I don't know. I don't like it because I feel like everyone judges me. So I kind of asked the question on not how to get over it, but you know,
this is really relevant actually with the current tripod gate, isn't it?
Yeah. Tripod gate.
Do you know what is people's issue with the tripod? Like, I love my tripod.
Mind your own fucking business, man.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? If people get in the way, like you like poke them with it and everything, like I love it. But honestly, when it's ace. I know what you mean though. When I first went into the gym and I'd started with Mads and Coy and I had to film that set, I was bricking it, pulling this massive tripod out my bag. But do you know what? People actually don't realise as much as you think. No. People do get a bit of joy waving at it, but other than that, people really don't give a shit. I think it's in your head that you think everyone's watching you, but they're not.
Do you know what I'd also recommend if you don't want to use a tripod and it's all the faff and you think, oh, fucking hell, what we do, just because we go ripped a little bit now and they're all a bit fucking anal about the whole thing as well, is wankers. Get your shaker bottle. So get your shaker bottle, Lou, put your shaker bottle on the floor. It's a perfect angle. Literally just rest your phone up against it and press record.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I do. And I do that, especially when the gym's really busy. You don't feel as bad, but then just put your shaker bottle, just tilt it further away, and it feels a lot less hidden.
You only need
a little bit less obnoxious, isn't it?
That's the right word, Tom. Yeah, it's less obnoxious. It's a little bit.
Because I see people with these fucking huge like tripods that are like taller than me, for fuck's sake. It's like. Yeah. Chill out a little bit.
I Scorsese the shit out of it, mate. I've got lights, camera, action. Like no gas.
Everyone out the way. But no,
I bet you got one of those like little light rings that Callum just bought.
Mate, I set
full photo shoot, like backdrop, all of it.
I set up cordons. I do ropes around. Nobody cares when Mads is doing it. When I get my cordon out and I'm doing my set, like people stand at the rails and like cheer and shout. But no, I think honestly, Luke.
It's
hard for all of us as individuals that are filming our sets. We all go through that. I was a little bit more obnoxious when I first started doing it because I had that inner confidence in myself and what I was doing. But understand, Luke, and this isn't me downplaying anybody else's knowledge and ability, but understand that the people that you feel that may be judging you aren't really that fucking clued up at all. And you've got to ask what they're doing on a daily basis to actually improve what they're doing. Like Steve said this to me, I hope you don't mind me saying, Steve, but he said, do you know what? Over time that I've been going through like these biomechanical approaches and how to actually improve my accuracy and execution in movement patterns, I've understood and seen that the people that I potentially thought were actually quite educated don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Right, Steve?
No, I don't.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
isn't it? Like,
yeah, definitely.
Steve's ability to apply himself in the gym is unquestionable now. His IQ in the gym is fantastic, and the reality for you, Luke, is you don't have to get over that stigma. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do and you're not comfortable with. But start is stepping stones. Put your phone in a position where nobody can really see it, just so you can see yourself. Set it up on the floor, up against your shaker or your bottle. Film yourself, and then just do one video at a time.
I think the biggest thing, like, I feel like I'm quite confident. Then I go in there, set it up, and then I feel like it'll just ruin my set when it did, because then I'm worrying about what other people are looking at me. Then I'm not even focusing on what I'm doing. So that's why I was like, but no,
I think a few things is like, be discreet about it if that makes you feel better. So just prop it up against your shaker bottle on the floor a couple of meters away. Oh, it's cute. You don't need to be, you don't need to look at the camera. That's the second thing. Like people that are looking at it like it's going to fucking get up and grow legs and fucking walk off. Like I'm always seeing people looking at their camera when they're doing the set. You don't need to look at your camera. It ain't fucking going anywhere. So just concentrate on what you're doing. Yeah. And then the third thing is, don't worry about the angle being right, the lighting being right. Is your fucking hair done? Have you got the right trainers on? No one gives a shit. You just want to see. It's not to look pretty for Instagram. It's literally just so Corey or me can see how you're performing something. And I'm sure Paula will agree with this. Like Paula just props it up against a bottle on the floor. Sometimes I can't always see her whole body, but I don't need to, because I can see enough of her doing a movement that I know what the movement looks like, and I can see how she's doing it. And that's the whole point. It's not to have some amazing videographer.
I was going to say, it's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. It's literally just to improve how you're performing. So I'd say they're the three things. Like, don't worry about someone else's what they're doing. Just be discreet. Prop it up against a water bottle, so it's not, you're not carrying something else around, something else to think about either, and you concentrate on your set. 2, don't look at the camera. Ain't growing legs. And 3, like, don't worry about getting the right angle or the right this, the right that. Just film something. That's the first step. Just film something, and then you will reap the benefits from it, and concentrate more on the benefits that it'll bring than the anxiety of like, oh, filming.
I've been going to the gym for a long time, as you all know, but I struggle to think of a time that I've seen anybody doing something in the gym that I potentially wouldn't agree with or wouldn't support, and I spend more than a second thinking or actually looking directly. Like if I saw somebody doing something in the gym, bearing in mind, like, I mean, I'm more focused on myself than anybody else anyway, but like, you're in there to train and do what you're supposed to be doing. If you've got a time frame that you're supposed to be there, like you ain't wasting your time watching somebody do star jumps with their t-shirt on their head in a pair of bright pink pants. You know what I mean? Like, who gives a shit? Like, you're like, oh well, that's different, that's weird, not really sure about that. Anyway, back to my bench press. Do you know what I mean? So even if somebody does have a look, even if somebody would, I'd be very surprised if somebody was to ever snigger or do anything like that, because the reality is, if anyone was to ever do that, it's down to their own uncomfortable self and sort of self-awareness, like they're not doing anything. But for yourself, Luke, like, it's a start. Do one video. Set yourself one video a session, not even one video a session, one video a week.
When you do it more, it's just like prep and food. It comes natural.
It becomes the norm. Do you know what I mean?
No, thank you.
I found it quite embarrassing when I started filming myself as well, but just got to get over it.
Steve went
all I used to think that people would be watching me, thinking, "Oh, who does he think he is? Some sort of fitness model or some sort of this, some sort of that." But then people that I thought might be thinking that, then after a couple of weeks, couple of months, saying, "Oh, you've made progress. What are you doing? Who's your coach? You got a coach? Who are you sending it to? Instagram?" Stuff like
the results speak for themselves.
Exactly. I'm thinking about taking a drone.
Steve, honestly, I remember when I had the conversation with Steve, right? And I was like, right, here's the link for the tripod. But at the same time, he bought himself new straps, new lifting gear, like everything. So he must have turned out a fucking Terminator, like Batman utility belt, like tripod strapped to his sides, knee sleeves and elbow sleeves on, like, let's fucking do this, Terminator style. So I can imagine Steve got a couple of looks, to be fair, but no, that.
So anyone that's going to laugh at you trying to improve yourself is the mug, not you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what a gym's for, isn't it? The gym is to improve yourself, and people that are going to laugh at it, like, they shouldn't be there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when people like when you see someone overweight and then someone takes a piss out of them being in the gym, it's like, well, why the fuck do you think they're here?
Fat shaming, like anything, any kind of judgment like that, people can fuck themselves. And do you know what, Luke? Right, genuinely, and like I say this openly, and you can all jump on the bandwagon and share my number and name. Send them to me. I'm more than happy to have a conversation with any fucker who does that because it's not on. But they won't, regardless. Like we're all talking about like it's something that would ever happen. It's not.
No.
Nobody gives a shit. You do what you want to do. Set your phone up. Start little and build up, as we always do, until it becomes a norm. Simple as that.
This is something that I deal with in my job, because where I work in the gym, I have like people that come up and go like, "Oh, I want to sign up," and then I get people that look at them when they're coming out of the gym, when they're just finished their sessions. They look at them like, "Why are they here?" Because they don't have the same body shape as them. And I sit there and say, like, well, everyone starts off somewhere. I started off somewhere. Before I even joined you guys, I dropped 10 stone before I dropped you guys. Before I joined you guys. And that, for me, walking into the gym 10 stone heavier was a nightmare for me. Like, it scared me. And I sat there and I was like, whoa. But now I'm with you guys and I'm a lot lighter than I was. People sit there and like, oh my God, you've changed. And that's what I'm sitting saying. Like, everyone starts off somewhere. There's progression to be made, and everyone has a building block to go from. Everyone has foundations to build from. And it just annoys me. I get so annoyed when I see people take the piss out of other people for it.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Do you know, I go through this with my students. I say that I take my students to the gym. My students have all got disabilities, and some of them have got Down syndrome, so it's quite a visible disability.
Yep.
And I know that when we first walked into, we go to a bodybuilding gym as well with them, everyone did give a few glares, but do you know, after a little while, people warm up. Like with anything, they just get used to it.
Yeah.
So I really wouldn't worry. Like, people know me, my tripod in the gym, like, I leave it. Sometimes I like walk off and leave it, and they like bring it back to me. It's ace. Like, I don't even carry my own stuff now. They just bring it to me. So I really wouldn't worry.
Yeah,
people do get used to things.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
That's
So now, I want you to set yourself a mission to film one set this week. I want you to share it with me, and then we can celebrate in the group. Deal?
No worries.
It's on. Yeah, we've committed now. Everyone's heard you. It's happening. Right. Yeah. Guys, if there's nothing else, we're going to leave you to your day.
Unless anyone's got any more last questions.
You're happy?
All good.
Zoe, you all good?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, like she won't say you, but she'll smile. Hi, Zoe. No, keep killing it, guys. Super proud of you. As always, very, very grateful for your support, your effort this morning and this week, and there on in moving forward. So have a lovely weekend. Much love to you all. Keep killing it. If you need anything, give us a shout, all right?
Yeah, we'll do.
Thanks, guys.